So I think great show. Been watching all the discussions earlier, the launches. So congratulations to Aegis. Great move. And now I have a short half an hour panel discussion. And I'd like to start off with the first question. Before I start the first question, I have a small quote that says cybersecurity is the only profession where there is zero unemployment. In fact, anyone has at least 2 job offers. So that could not be a better way to start the session, saying it's a bright industry, it's 10 on 10, the demand is far more than supply. And with this, I have my esteemed panelists to say, how will you actually, what's your advice to the students? Yeah. Two different people who are aspiring for this. Get someone mute this one. So what first advice to someone who wants to look at a career in cybersecurity?
Hi, thank you so much. Audible?
Yes, you.
So in my view, I think the first thing is being passionate about cybersecurity as a field.
I think, Saket, there is some noise which is coming from your side.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's coming from everyone's side. There's some disturbance. Someone's got it. Yeah, Kathy, from your side.
Yeah. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's much better now. Thank you so much.
So this noise is coming from Saket's side. Yeah.
Yes. So maybe Bhupesh, you could start off with then. What's your first advice to someone looking at a career in cybersecurity? Why cyber, and what are the options available for students in this area?
Why cybersecurity? I think cybersecurity, if we see the numbers, there are roughly around 60 lakh jobs are there worldwide, open jobs. So there are various reports which says, of course, in US alone, there are almost 1 million jobs are there. Worldwide, 6 million jobs are there. Cisco says almost 1.5 million jobs are there. So these are merely statistics. But if we see the kind of digitization has happened, there are roughly around 7.2 billion human beings are there on this planet. And out of which roughly around 7.5 billion mobile phones are in usage. In India, roughly around 1.3 billion mobile phones are in usage. So there are tons of mobile phone, millions of transactions are happening. And because of this digitization, all these stuff need to be protected. So we need cyber army, we need cyber policemen to really have a secure transaction and make this world secure. And that's the reason the cybersecurity employment will always grow, and there's always gap between the demand and the academic institution's ability to fulfill that. This is much beyond the job as well, because as a cybersecurity professional, you contribute in a big way to protect your nation, to society, even the boundaries. So while we are fighting a war with China on the border, and our defense forces are protecting the country, we need cyber professionals who will be protecting our banks. And every day we are hearing the news is that the China cyber army is attacking Indian banks, and the war is always on. So I think it is much more beyond a career. It is need of everyone, every individual being, to gear up some degree of the cyber proficiency, not only for making the jobs and earning bread and butter.
Thanks, Bhupesh. So now to my friend Sridhar, and he's been one stalwart who's been across many industries, from conglomerates to digital first companies where he's now. So Sridhar, what are the options available, and Saket can add in later, for someone who has passed through this lovely college, and what are the cyber options available for them? Should they join consulting? Should they join industry? Should they join digital companies? Should they join a service provider? Should they go into a product? What would be your advice? What are the options available so that they could choose on a very open basis? Sridhar, and then Saket can add.
Yes, thank you, Burgess, and nice to see you online after a long time.
That's just mine.
Yeah. So, Burgess, a very valid question. So, what should be the domain they should choose? See, basically, if you see, I mean, a cybersecurity professional, there is no limit for learning. So, can I say that after I mean, I've seen you, for example, being a CISO served for a good amount of years and being a top-notch in the industry. You chose to move into consulting after a certain period of time. If you see my other colleague, Vishal Salvi, was in the banking sector, then he moved into the consulting, then he moved into the ITITS now. So, and in fact, he moved into the business also now. So there is good amount of churn happening around it. But when someone is starting a career, it's always good to start your career in a technical stream and then elevate yourself into process, and then you elevate it, because many times people choose to go into the consulting, which is good. I mean, that's where you learn how to sell your stuff, how to kind of package your stuff, and how can you convince someone. So the influencing, all those things come from consulting background itself. So that's a next level of it. So you should start somewhere where you learn technical, because when you're convincing something, and management definitely will have some technical people being there to talk to you and then see that how good you are at. So that really needs it. So you could start somewhere, you be in a technical stream, learn technology stuff, how it works, and then elevate into yourself into governance, and then elevate into yourself into the consulting. So that's where you achieve the highest level of job satisfaction in it. And for people who want to enter into this domain, I mean, this is an amazing field. I've been there for almost 2 decades now, where you have the passion, as many of you said, to learn, relearn, unlearn. This continuous process happens. So there is no one saying that I've learned Java and I become a AppSec guy, so application security guy. So this Java is gone now. There's so many after that which has come and gone. So you need to continuously learn. So people who feel that it is little difficult for me to learn, relearn, unlearn, this domain is little challenging. So you have to continuously be on board. And what is that the field can give you back? This domain, if you see, is highly respected. You work in an InfoSec or in a corporate environment. There are only a couple of which domains are called as the governance function. So be the financial corporate controllership, or be the ethics and compliance, or the InfoSec. So these are the three which is absolutely called as the compliance teams, which is called into audit committee, which is called into a board of directors meeting, and then come and say what risk you see. And if you see business, all those things is good. They are, many times there is a comparison saying that, are you the breadwinner for the company? So, which is not. I'm just a governance person who helps to structure and work the engine of organization to move forward in a structured way. So this is the absolutely, you are highly respected individual in an organization. So if you say something, you have a lot of value for that, what you're saying. I think I took little time.
Thanks, Sridhar. And from your own example, you want to share 30 seconds on your own career journey from where you started and how you went there, so people can have a perspective that they could go from multiple places?
Yes, Bajaj. So I started my career as a software developer. Then, in fact, I don't have any computers background when I started. So I learned on my own, and then ended up in a software development company. Then did my networking. Then I kind of moved into the IT security and network security. Then moved into the governance. Then took the consulting role for a good amount of time. Then moved into the cyber defense. Then the governance also came in back, and then cyber defense was the last role, and then the chief information security officer role. And then now I'm in Flipkart as the same role but different avatar altogether.
And I'm sure you're very proud of the avatar. This is VR of you. So thanks for that. Saket, I'd like to add. So thanks, Sridhar. Gavdeep, I just say you said I like what you said. You hold a lot of weight in a board meeting. It becomes what you say holds importance, and you learn, you relearn, you unlearn. And it's good to start in technical and then move to process. I think and many of the questions are coming in. How does one move from IT, banking to cyber? You will answer that as we go. But thanks, Sridhar, for sharing your journey and how you moved through multiple roles. And actually each role has benefited and enriched you and helped your company get the best out of that. Thanks, Sridhar. Saket, from your perspective, what are the options available?
Rajesh, thank you so much. Is the audio clear now? Is it better now?
Lots of disturbance from your side.
Is it still there? Oh my God. Let me just relog in.
Okay, no problem. We can wait till you relog in. Let me go back to the other. There's a question there, Sridhar. You want to take that? I think someone mentioned, how does one move from banking, pure IT, or pure networks to cyber?
So if you see, the easiest path for anyone to come is from the IT background. So there are only two domains which is very close to the information security. One is a quality stream where you already know the process and you can directly enter the audit stream. And the next one is the IT team. I mean, if you've been a network administrator, you can easily move into a network security architect, and you can look at elevate into, I mean, banking as a in fact, the domain, if you see, there are a lot of NBFCs which are coming up, and there is a lot of requirement. As I speak, a few of my colleagues have requested, saying that can you refer for my own NBFCs, saying that this is the requirement I have, can you help me? So there is a lot of opportunity. Only thing is, you, as I mentioned, you have to relearn on few aspects, because when you are a network administrator, you have the highest priority of availability. Here, the availability is the last priority. You have a confidentiality, integrity as the highest priority. So you have to relearn, and then little bit of understanding is required, and then move into it. So you are on the right track. This is the next step you can take into move into the security domain.
Thanks, Sridhar. Rupesh, from your perspective, what are the options available, and what is the importance of training versus real life experience?
I think any good practice foundation lies on a strong theory, right? Be it economics, be it technology, be it management, any field, and cybersecurity is not quite different. Now, against the common notion that, and which actually disappoints me a lot, that there is a huge flux of training which is coming in the market, which is tool-based training, which is focused primarily on, say, ethical hacking or pen testing. Ethical hacking, pen testing is very small part of that. Identifying issues is difficult, it's important, but the more important thing is to fix that. And to fix problems, you require a foundation understanding, fundamental understanding, which is understanding about network, which is understanding about any programming language, operating system, how it works. And unless you don't have those understanding, it is extremely difficult to really fix that. And cybersecurity goes far beyond even the technology. There are a lot of reports which say that 52%, more than 50% threat comes from the human mind, right? And humans are, relatively to machines, are highly unpredictable. And to understand human behavior, you also need psychologists, human behavioral scientists, those who understand and decode the human pattern, because they are the major vulnerability. You can fix technology, but you can't fix the human being. And that actually lays down a very strong foundation importance in terms of understanding the theory, which is mathematics, because mathematics is the base for cryptography and all the technological base. Once you have that, then learning tools becomes important, because at the end of the day, you will be using tools to really create your defense system, right? No amount of theory can really help you. But without understanding theory, just relying on the tools is actually a disaster, right? And we can take example of country like Russia and Israel, which are leader, and they have done extremely good on both the part, which is theory and which is application. Russians are extremely good in mathematics, and that's the reason they produce one of the best hackers, be it ethical or be it unethical, because they understand the math. They can really crack any kind of encryption algorithm, or they can create some kind of algorithm. They're extremely good in machine learning and other stuff. So my point is, yes, there has to be balance of these two. In a short while, you can really get job based on the tools, but in the longer run, you will not be able to survive.
So do you think cybersecurity fundamental in colleges? Yeah, Saket, welcome. Welcome back, Saket.
So Sridhar here, so one point which Bhupesh thing is, see, this lot of training, tool-based training is kind of also killing the industry. If you see, a lot of people come saying that I've learned ethical hacking, but companies want a good amount of hackers, but that's not the stopping point. So what companies want is, how do you defend? How do you build a defensive capability? That's what people want. I mean, enough people can say there are enough holes in your environment, enough vulnerabilities, but you need to build a capability to kind of build the controls, design the controls, and enforce it and monitor it. So that capability is lacking a big time. And architects, if you see how many trainings have taught people security architects, very, very few. We don't have the designation at all saying that is there a security architect role. So that is one of the gaps which we need to fill, saying that there are a good amount of TOGAF, there are a good amount of data security, sorry, the architects, all those things, but security architects is a lacking domain.
Thanks, Sridhar. And I agree, architecture is lacking domain. Has Saket logged it back? Saket? Okay. Back to the question, Bhupesh. What are the avenues of education for cyber? Should it be elementary at school level, college level, or in the engineering level? What are the ways available right now in India, and what is your vision to take it to the grassroots?
I think current cybersecurity education, not only in India, worldwide, is absolutely in a mess, right? There's no awareness. Now, there are three questions. So one, current state is quite disappointing. It's completely in mess. The second, at what stages education need to be offered? The education need to be offered just like a sex education. This cybersecurity education need to be given even at a children's level, right? Right from KG1, because today, like the whole country, in India, there are roughly around 550 million users. They are using currently mobile internet over mobile phone. And majority of the youth, they are using TikTok, which is nothing as a Chinese arm of collecting the data, right? So we have opened our mobiles, and we are giving every data to the Chinese. This is something kind of ridiculous. This is kind of educated people are behaving like ignorant idiots. So the education need to be imparted at every school level, and kids are much more vulnerable for these kind of sexual predators, for hackers, everybody. Engineering students, they are unaware that what kind of application they're using. So it need to be everywhere. So one is awareness level for those who are users, and the other one, those who will be protecting this country, right? Those who will be the professionals. So in fact, engineering colleges, professional institutions need to really impart professional education, which will be, as I earlier said, that it need to be combination of tools and combination of strong theory. Anyway, most of the engineering colleges teach very strong theory on programming language, operating system, networking. But unfortunately, they have not been able to invoke the interest and not been able to really emphasize the importance of that. So there is a issue in terms of really imparting good theory, and there is the issue imparting the practical knowledge on the other side. Now coming back to Aegis Vision, Aegis Vision is to really, and the Aegis name itself stands for the shield. God Jesus gave the shield to Athena to fight a war. So Aegis stands for the creating a knowledge shield for a country like India, and wherein we want to really partner all the academic institutions in this country and empower them with the right kind of tools, right kind of theoretical knowledge. In fact, we have 3 campuses in this country. We are imparting very good quality of higher education in cybersecurity, and we are proud to say that we were the first one to bring in the holistic program, and Ritin will be talking more about that. And in this program, we are covering network security, cloud security, application security, cryptography. We were the first institution in entire Asia and Europe to bring machine learning and AI into cybersecurity, right? And how it actually works. And I'm glad that a couple of our students have built up very good models. And we are giving a lot of exposure on tools as well. So this 360-degree aspect of cybersecurity program will empower the youth to become a chief information security officer in, say, at the age of 25 or 27 or 30 years. Why somebody has to really wait till 45 or 50 when he gets the gray hair and then become the chief information security officer? No, the time has changed, right? And when we are fighting with—
You're calling Sridhar and me older.
Yeah.
You're calling Sridhar.
I am older than both of you. I am older than all of you, right? I also have the gray hairs. So this status quo need to really break. And especially when we are fighting with the intelligent enemies like Pakistan and China, and they are constantly bombarding on us. So we need to really gear up, the entire academia need to really gear up to fight our enemies on 2 fronts, on the border and internally as well. And internal is much more important. That's what our—
I like that. I like internals is much more important. And why not a CISO at 25, 30?
Yes.
Why at 40? You want to answer that, Sridhar? I think it's a good point.
It's a valid point, Burgess. I mean, people cannot wait to become when a CEO of companies are today 20s, 22, 23s. You take, why should a CISO be at 40s? Valid point. It's up to us to kind of when I spoke to Bhupesh also, that's what I used to tell him. We should put it as a package and give it to them so that they don't go through that same rigor what we went through, learning different things and then over a period of time. Package it and give it such that they learn it in a short span of time and then achieve that objective what is there. So that's what, if you see most of the entrepreneurs
Also,
started that journey. So it's not that. Yeah, go ahead, Burgess. I think Saket is
the
also
good,
back.
Saket, are you back?
Yes,
Okay,
I'm
great.
back, and this time I hope the audio is clear.
Yeah, I
Much
can
better.
see your better headphones. Thank you.
Thanks.
Our discussion. The best one was if CEO can be at 25, why not a CISO? What are the options available? Go ahead.
Yes.
For
So
cybersecurity for a professional.
yeah, so from the business standpoint, broadly 5 categories are what I have classified the entire roles and responsibility and the career options which are kind of available. So the first one is where Sridhar has been, and you yourself has been, is being at the customer end, where the CISOs are there, and then the IT security managers are there, the people who are really managing the show on the floor. The second category would be the manufacturers or the OEMs who are actually making the solution. So there are multiple roles which are there, just going and skimming through each of them. Sales is something where I come in from. Then there are tech sales guys who are kind of technically supporting the solution. There are product guys who are actually doing a product development of these solutions and managing the product end to end. Product development guys who are there from the R&D and the lab sides who are continuously testing, patching the solution and bringing it up, or delivering the solution to the next generation. Technical support guys, these guys are like very, very important when customer faces issues of any sort. Then these are the guys who come in and help. And there are multiple levels of support: L1, L2, L3 support levels which are available. From OEMs organization, there are professional services teams wherein this particular team gets deeply engaged with the customer for deployment and implementation levels of the solution. Similarly, the next category is a system integrator. Now, these guys are very, very critical because they understand the customer needs, and then they are also able to gel it across with what OEMs have to offer to each of the customers. So not necessarily every solution is meant for everybody. So from system integration, and again, the career options which are kind of available are sales, tech sales guys. But someone who's very, very critical is the implementation and the solution architects, because now they are looking at a much more holistic approach of getting things deployed at the customer end and making it run. Once these guys do their job, the next level of guys who come in is managing the operations, the day-to-day operations, because the guy who may be good at implementation, he may not be good at daily operations capabilities of the same solutions, or vice versa. The next level which we are seeing a lot of upbringing and growth which is required, where this demand of skill gaps are being met, is the training aspect. And soon you'll be hearing it, a lot of organizations are now focusing on the cyber range kind of a thing, where we cannot be actually delivering when the incident has actually happened. We have to be prepared for it, and that's where the training of the tools, the training of the process, and simulation of attacks, these are the kind of things which happen. And that's like one of the 5th categories which are there. You yourself have been into the consulting domain, so something to hear from you that's your experience.
I will. And I think I'll follow up with the question. I'll mention that. So I think there are both sides. You could be in the industry, and I was there for 19 years, CISO for a bank, HSBC, and for Vodafone. And then now 5.5 years as a partner in cybersecurity. So, Saket, what about your own journey? You've been through multiple companies and industries. You want to share to the whole panelists and team members, how has been your journey enriching, and what is the path you've taken? Sridhar, his path, how he's been through multiple industries and multiple programs and multiple job descriptions. Give us your story.
So my story is, my passion towards security was there in the very early days. As in, I still remember it was like I was in my 5th standard and my first PC had arrived, and somehow I was trying to figure out things to get at most economical way. So understanding how the operating systems work, how I could possibly get hold of certain gamings, and if I have to win through the games. So eventually I started getting exposed to a lot of tools which were to do with the hacking world. And being part of the Box network at that point in time, the Hasta La Vista Box network used to be there. And from there on, conceptually things started on a good way, but I never knew that I would be making a career out of it. So by the end of my MBA, my first job which I landed was into sales with information security solutions for SIFI Technologies. And there, the exposure towards enterprise security was a great launch pad where, selling each and everything, starting from endpoint security solutions, going to the data center security offerings, physical perimeter, everything was kind of covered. And system integrators that way is allowed to be a great launch pad, because they don't confine you to be having a product expertise on only one of the offerings. It allows you to be a generalistic, though being into the cybersecurity domain. So that was my first entry point within the cybersec world. Eventually, yes, with the network, the CISOs who were there, the consultants working around, and the OEMs, yes, I was able to explore other fields. And now what I'm doing is helping organizations build next generation of SOC. So core focus only on the SOC based solutions, because what we are realizing is most of the enterprises, be it small, medium, large, they have invested a whole lot of point-based products, but having very less visibility at a single pane of dashboard. And that's where, the SOC comes into play. So that's what I'm doing
Saket,
now.
actually, you're not helping build a SOC, but you're helping make the world a safer place. So EY
Oh, yeah.
a better place. So you're not, SOC is the way you do it, but you're actually helping companies stay secure.
Absolutely, Burgess.
Back to you. What is the life of a day in a CISO's life? What he should do from morning to evening. Just for many aspirants who look upon to you as the best in class CISO, Sridhar, for one of the most digital first companies. What is the life and day of a CISO?
I wish I could say it was a easy and happy budget, so which is not. But at the end of the day, you have a satisfaction. So you work and then defend, as Bhupesh also was saying. You are literally fighting a war there. So there is someone trying to intrude into your company, steal your company's information, or it could be internal employees. So sometimes you're a police, sometimes you're an army person who is trying to defend, and each person of your team is kind of a warrior who's supporting you. He has his own aspirations. You have to help him out. You have to groom few people, and then you have to manage a lot of stakeholders. They have different objectives, so you have to support their objectives. Someone wants to go live tomorrow, someone wants to go live yesterday. So you have a lot of thing, and then you have inquiries from outsiders on what is happening, how is it happening, and you have to brand yourself to the company, and then you have a lot of stuff. I mean, if you take from morning to evening, you will be wearing all the hats of what a typical enterprise person will do. So you have to be in a consulting role, you have to be in a technical role, and you have to be talking to your boss, and then aligning with how is your spend on security going? Is it on the par, or you're overachieving? How is your suppliers managing? I mean, how are you managing your suppliers? And at the end of the day, you come home and still you have a family to manage.
And we also make steel that way.
which happens.
Yes. So Bhupesh, what is the highest for students? What is the highest someone can reach in this field? If somebody came and asked you, a student, what are the highest things I can reach, and what are the typical salary levels which you think the highest there in the industry from your perspective, in India and abroad? Because you're doing this to help students reach.
Yeah. So money yardstick is actually a bad yardstick to reach in cybersecurity. If you cross the line, you can be a billionaire. So all these, so 20 years, maybe 30, 40 years back, if you wanted to become a millionaire, take a gun and rob a bank, right? And now 20, 30 years back, while we were in engineering, that time if you wanted to become a millionaire, go and become join a bank, right? Now these days, if you want to become a millionaire or billionaire, go and become a cyber criminal, right? And all these, say, organized crime syndicate in Russia or China or Pakistan or US, they would love to hire you on their payroll, and your salary could be $1 million a month. No, I'm not trying to really give an indication that that's the career path.
Nor are you propagating that path.
Yeah, right. Now the other side. So the idiots actually join those sides. The intelligent guys, they know that someday they will be caught, right? So they never join that line, right? And when someday will happen, some moment will happen, you don't know. So intelligent guys on this side, they can become a CEO, forget about becoming chief information security officer. They can raise funding. So today, if you really go across and see, today the companies which are funded, they are not the AI companies. They are the cyber security companies using the AI tools, right? And they are being funded. So every cyber professional in an Israel is the best country to really take and get the example. Now, all those cyber security professionals, those who were working for the military, Israeli military, now they all have become the founders. They all are running a cyber security company. So if you walk in Tel Aviv, it's like a legit papad industry, right? So every home, every person is running a cyber security company and making millions of dollars. So yardstick. Now coming back to the ground zero in India, yes, at ages, people are able to really get as high salaries as 12 to 13 lakh, 14 lakh, fresh candidates are able to really get, which is a reasonable amount to really get. But because of COVID-19, these salaries are going to really taper down. There will be correction. But if you consistently really work, there's no limit in terms of cyber security, the kind of money you can really make, because there are a lot of fields, which is network security, application security, cryptography, cloud security, right? Data scientists specialize in cyber security, solution architects, security architect, AWS security, Azure security. These are the hundreds of kind of job requirement which is there in the market. There are a lot of freelancing jobs are there. You can become a good trainer, you can become a teacher, and the tons of the job requirement is there.
Would it be fair to say the CISO probably will earn higher than an IT infra or IT developer?
Yes, certainly. Because you're protecting the money, you're protecting the asset, right? So if you, so the company need to pay you more so that you don't become a rogue, right?
Yeah. So from your perspective, how high does the salary, does it go into crores for CISOs? Would that be a carrot for people to come and join this? One motivator, not the only one. You have to have a kill, but would it be higher than the other peers in the IT industry?
If you take the pay perspective, definitely this is one of the highly paid jobs. I mean, if you take a developer who's joining, his base salary will be somewhere around 4-5 lakhs if you join a ITS company. On a cybersecurity professionals, I've seen 6 months experienced person getting paid 10-12 lakhs or so. And in fact, they are in this side of the world, there are people who are getting paid in almost 7-digit, 8-digit also. So it all depends which is the domain you're taking and what is the specialization you do. So there are, I mean, in cybersecurity also, there is a generalist role you can be, or you can be in a specialist role. So where you fit in and how good you are in the specialist role is all that matters. So there is a good amount of pay, and this is an evolving domain. If you see, there is very less people who are in very few skills. If you take forensics itself in India, there are very few people, and very few handful of people who are specialists. So if you take that domain and then you enter into that field, you can demand what you want. I mean, nobody is going to object to that. And second is the demand and supply is the biggest play. I mean, the more and more job roles open up for companies which doesn't have any. I mean, if you take automotive industry, it doesn't have any need to have a cybersecurity professional 5 years back. Now you take, they are hiring left, right. So the more and more job openings open, the supply is less. obviously this pay, you can demand what you want. So the industry will pay. I mean, that will be there for some time. Once it stabilizes, the correction will definitely happen. So you cannot.
Saket, your views? From an IBM perspective, would a cyber be a much more higher pay than a normal IT developer and IT, right?
I think the person who can be
Thanks.
trusted, the trust factor really matters in this field of cybersecurity, especially when I'm coming from the sales domain, because if I'm not able to build that trust, then certainly there's no business. And there are now niche players coming out in the market, some very small, specific, specialized security solutions out there. So if the customers are able to trust, then the sky is the limit in terms of whatever salary that you would want to make out of it, because the market is really huge, the demand is there, and it's continuously evolving. As in, even in this COVID market setting in, probably when we are hearing a lot of businesses are being impacted, security is one domain where we are still seeing a lot of demand even in this kind of a market. So there is never recession in security. So salary is always there.
In fact, more attacks have happened. And more cyber's
Absolutely.
going. So I'm trying to now answer a few of the questions. About 8 minutes left. Do I need to become a developer to develop career in cybersecurity, or is programming language required? Not mandatorily. If you want to be a ethical hacker, it clearly helps. But there are other roles. You could do a GRC role. You could do a networks role. You could do architecture role. If you have coding experience, it clearly helps. But it's not a stick fast mandate that people don't have coding experience cannot get that done. Saket, Sridhar, want to add to that?
Yeah, completely with you, Burgess, because I'm not a developer. I was very bad at blue screens development always, but and tools are obviously there. I think what matters again is logical understanding of how the architecture is, what the need of business is, and that really helps to push forward and make your a way out. So that's my view.
Thank you.
Not
Next
a
question is
skill,
yes.
but it's not a mandatory skill, but definitely good skill to have. I mean, over a period of time, you need to have that.
Agreed. Next is, can RPA be inclusive of security? Yes. I mean, clearly it's again one more program. If you have it, it helps, but again, not a mandate. Next is, should I choose data science over cybersecurity? I think it's a personal choice. You could choose both, and I wish you all the very best in what you choose. Both are stunning careers. Both are, as Sridhar mentioned, if you want to cross the 7-digit years, the pay to pay, good amount of pay, but respect. Both are good fields. I think it's also a personal choice. What is your aspiration and your aptitude and attitude? Questions. Can you tell me where to gain start knowledge and experience cybersecurity? I think you have come to the right forum. You have lots of knowledge here, lots of education available. Aegis School is the right place to go to give you all the knowledge and the required education to get there. I think you've answered all the questions from that perspective. Is there any other question? I'm trying to see if it's been left. I don't see. Okay. One question.
By Dr. Arun, is there any
Yes.
relationship between data science and cybersecurity? Do attend my session at 3:30. I will be talking in great length the relationship between AI, data science, cybersecurity.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much. Although hiring of freshers in the last 2 years has increased, cybersecurity, yes. Cybersecurity role is still a niche and there's more and more demand. Yeah, that's probably the only role which is still hiring, while all others are stagnant. Bhupesh, as we come to the last 3 minutes, any closing comments from your side? How would you motivate people to consider cyber as a very, very strong option with your journey, the basics of the school, and what is your parting knowledge to all the students and their teachers and parents?
It's very difficult to give any closing message, right? It's all open-ended. I think those who are passionate in this area, so I was seeing a lot of questions, irrespective of whichever background you come, whether you come from mechanical or civil or arts background or electronic background, doesn't matter whether you know coding, you don't know coding, whether you know networking, you don't know networking, does not really matter. All of you, you can really make your career in cybersecurity, and there are a lot of various areas within cybersecurity which are technical and which are non-technical in nature. There are jobs which requires coding knowledge, which jobs requires networking knowledge. So you can really pave your path. You can pick up the right kind of area, whichever you want. But do not choose cybersecurity just for the sake of making money. This applies to almost every field, but much more important to the cybersecurity because this is like an ocean. Traditionally, the way our generation has grown by picking up some area like application security or network security, that's not the way future cybersecurity is going to really grow. Now, this silo barrier, which engineering has created artificial barrier, that this is IT branch, this is computer science branch, and this is a telecom branch. Likewise, we are also trying to create a silo barrier between AI, data science, and cybersecurity career. These have all merged, right? And to become the future cybersecurity professional, forget about the future, even today's cybersecurity professional, to handle these kind of stuff, you need to really have the cross-functional understanding, cross-subject understanding, right from human behavior to mathematics, to coding, to networking, to cryptography, everything, right? You cannot become humanly, is it possible to acquire and become expert on all those areas? The answer is not in 2 years or 3 years. Yes, you can become expert in 20 years, but you need to really have the idea of all those areas so that you don't behave like an ignorant idiot that yes, I am a cybersecurity expert because I have done some ethical hacking course. No, you have not become. You are thousands of kilometers away from that area. So you need to acquire the wider range of the knowledge and go deeper into some area where your heart lies, where you think your interest lies, which could be network, which could be application, which could be cloud, which could be ethical hacking, pen testing, or whatsoever area, or maybe a new area, emerging area, which is cyber security, specialized in data science. And these are the guys, they get highest salaries. And to the academic institutions, because a lot of academic institutions have partnered with us, that yes, we all need to really gear up. Today, this is a time that we have to really demonstrate that what our product can really do in this market. And the jobs are not going to come so easy. So they need to really have very strong demonstrable skill in the market.
Thank you, Rupesh. Very well summarized. Sridhar, what do you want to summarize from your perspective? Time's done. I'd like to have your 2 minutes. Your message to all the students.
Yeah, Bajaj. So it's a very interesting domain, and you can build a lot of value in it. And this is not a domain which will go down very easily. So I've seen many niche things coming and then sinking very fast. So this domain is going to be there as long as people use zeros and ones on the copper or fiber cables. So this domain, you need people, and then you need resourceful people. So let me put it that way. So a lot of people come in and then find it tough job. So let me give an example. The SOC, whatever Sakit mentioned, a lot of people stick there for a long time and then say that I don't like this job because it's shift job. So those jobs will go away very fast as and when the more and more artificial intelligence and ML kicks in, and then it will remove that layer of monitoring, eyeball monitoring on layer 1 and layer 2. So it will be automated, as someone also posted, RPAs. But as and when it kind of evolves, it brings up new challenges, new jobs, opportunities. So it is highly paying, highly rewarded, highly respected job in the industry. And I mean, we need good people. That's what I would say. I mean, if you have that passion, urge to learn, relearn, and then quickly unlearn a lot of stuff, this is the place you have to be there.
Thank you, Sridhar. Like yourself, we need good people like yourselves to come on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this.
Saket, from your perspective, closing words?
So I see a lot of questions coming with the same thing, that how do they start off, and is what's the role, how much is the role of certifications that really matter. So I think, yes, first the foundations have to be there in place, irrespective whether you're from cybersecurity field or you want to make career out of it. Basic understanding of business applications, networking will help to start off, and then eventually taking your passion and interest towards this field. Certifications is merely something which you will come across, and it's kind of a tag that, okay, you know something about it for sure, but it's not necessary that being certified is actually going to help at the floor. So yeah, what matters is your interest, your passion. Keep learning, skill, upskill, relearn. It's a continuously evolving field. That's all from my side, Burgess.
Thanks, Saket. And I'll just summarize now what everyone said. Sridhar said, good to start in technical and then go to processes. He said very rightly, learn, relearn, unlearn. The three compliance themes, GRC. What you say holds a lot of weight in a board meeting. Bhupesh said, like sex education, should start at grassroots level. And engineering colleges teach strong theory, and now it's time to teach practicals also. Again, Sridhar said, it's a field for a lot of resourceful people. It's a domain here to stay. Do not come here only for the money. Come here for the long run, and you will not be disappointed. It's a place where you could have a multiple 7-figure salary and good amount of pay. I like, Saket, what you mentioned. It's not just certification, but much more longer domains. I like what we said. If CEO can be at 25, why not a CISO? And CISOs are now actually becoming CEOs and starting companies. We also said it's a day in life of a CISO, sometimes a policeman, sometimes an army man, sometimes a family man. And I like what Bhupesh mentioned. If you cross the line, you could become a billionaire, but that's not advisable. And companies that are getting funded, not the ones that get AI, but those who get cyber in AI. And don't just choose cyber for money, but choose for the right reasons. And last is, again, the most important point, why not a CISO at 25? So that's a challenge for us, for all of us. Why not let the next generation CISOs who are starting much more earlier than what we started, why can't they become CISOs at 25 and 30? And with this good thought, I would like to wish Aegis all the very best. Good luck, God bless all the students. It's a great field. It's made great careers for all of us, and we love to give back. Happy for any one of us to mentor you. And we mean it, not just for conceit, but happy for you to connect and see how we can help you. Good luck, all the very best. Back to you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Burgess.
for such a wonderful panel moderation. It comes quite naturally to you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
Bhupesh, Sridhar and Saket again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Burgess.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sridhar. Thanks,
Okay.
Bhupesh.